not only for, again, loved ones' deaths, but our own in particular. And they're more or less divided into two categories of healthcare and financial. The healthcare ones you can draw up by yourself with the 5 wishes document or with your doctor, but for certain of the financial documents, you need an attorney to do them for you. The healthcare documents include the advance directives, which really are 2 things. It's a living will, your wishes, again, as Diane explained, what you wish, what treatments, etc. And your health care power of attorney. That gives a person control over making decisions regarding your health care when you are no longer able to. Until you are unable, you make the decisions for yourself. But there reaches a time, particularly in case of accident or a stroke or a catastrophic illness, again, where you're not going to be able to do that. So you should have someone that not only knows you well, but that you can trust to follow exactly what you have written down, or in cases where you can't cover in writing all the eventualities, then you know that that person will decide what you would have decided because he knows you or she knows you well.
Can I cut in?
Of course.
Do you have any input on, is it, if there are more than one sibling involved, is it better for there to be just one?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, because of the opinions. People are not going to feel the same way, even if it's written down. Some people just can't.
The one that isn't included?
Yeah, you just have to, it's one person okay. Only, yeah. Then the advance directives are usually observed in a hospital setting. I know of cases where the advance directives have not been followed in a hospital setting. Senior moment. So you have to provide for that by having other documents. The most common one is the DNR, which is the Do Not Resuscitate order, and that is something that has to be signed by your doctor. And when you do that, he will give you either a form to keep with you or a bracelet or a card to put in your wallet. And that's important to have, and that is good outside or within, again, medical facilities. Then, if you want this not to happen, outside of a hospital setting, there is the non-hospital DNR. And that is very important because, as you know, in most locales, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, by law are obliged to give you CPR, mainly, to resuscitate you. And if you don't want that, then you also have to have the non-hospital DNR. And then if you don't want to be intubated, then you have to have, it's another way of saving your life that don't have to do with cardiac arrest, precisely. So they intubate you. And yeah, this is one that's
INTU.
It's called a DNI, Do Not Intubate, INTUBATE.
It's a breathing tube.
Mm-hmm. It's a breathing tube, exactly. Mm-hmm. And this is just another of the many methods. I mean, I'm no doctor, but you know as well as I do, there are lots of things they can do to you to keep you alive. And if you don't want them, then you have to have various documents because there's only one new one that is pretty much all-inclusive, and I'll tell you about that. So it's very important to have the non-hospital DNR if you do not want EMTs coming to your home on the ambulance to give you CPR. They will do that automatically. That's what they have to do. They don't have a choice. In the case of my father, he was already dead on the floor. He had died minutes before, and well, yeah, 10, 15 minutes probably, and he was obviously dead. He had had a massive heart attack before, which he miraculously survived. This was a follow-up one, which was even worse, evidently, than the first one, if that's possible. And so he had just had his favorite meal for dinner, which was very nice. And so there he was, dead in his chair, actually fell out of the chair. Well, when the paramedics came, they said, well, you know, he's gone, but they worked on him for 15 or 20 minutes because they have to. All of this costs a great deal of money, and they had to take him to a hospital. And my mother got this whopping big bill for all of these treatments that were administered after he had already gone. And again, the EMTs don't have a choice, and you can show them the advanced directives, and they'll say that's fine when he gets to the hospital if he survives. So you have to really keep these things in mind. You all know what the living will is. Again, that's the 5 wishes, which is a beautiful document, by the way. And anything written down, I feel, is good. Even you may have a will and a living will and everything else, but if you have a list of family mementos and that kind of thing, they get usually passed over. Do you have a pin or a necklace or something special that you want to go to a particular member of your family? Write it down. My mother has a list this long because I'm saying, have you finished the list?
Or go ahead and give it to them early.
Yeah, that's a good idea also, surely. That's the easiest way, yeah. The new order that I was going to tell you about is called a POLST, which is, again, the DNRs and the non-hospital and the do not incubate have to be signed by your physician in order to be valid. The POLST is actually the physician's orders for life-sustaining treatment. And again, it's all in my list of definitions in the reference material. It's a national document. It is not yet valid in all 50 states. So check it gradually moving across, as is the 5 wishes. It's only valid in 43 states as we speak. It has been translated into 23 languages. It's in French. They're just doing the Italian translation. It's in German. It's not valid in many European countries, obviously, but it gives you guidelines for something, for a personal document for yourself. Again, getting back to the POLST, they are trying to get it validated in all the states, but it is in a goodly number of them, including California, which is my state. And it's, again, a physician's orders meant for all other medical personnel. And it's signed by the doctor, prepared by the doctor with you, and it is legally binding. It will prevent any kind of resuscitation measures or extending life measures that you don't want. And you specify those with him in the document. He will explain what they can do to you in the hospital, and he'll say, no, I don't want that. Even covers antibiotics, if you can imagine. And so really do look into that. It's, again, must be signed by the doctor, or it can even be prepared by your agent if something should happen to you in the meantime and you haven't had time to ask for this. Your agent can ask your doctor to prepare one for you for that person based on what you know of that person's wishes. Yes?
Just to interject here, on my father's power of attorney for health care, he was advised to write something in the style of, if the treatment you're going to give me will prolong